Hey, Composer Gloves here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a wobble sound with FM8. Sounds like this. And there's also a lot of cool textures. Look for this moment, and this moment, and this moment. I'll highlight them at the end too. And that moment too, that's a cool moment. So the moments are this one. That's cool. This one. That one. That's cool. And this one. So those are sort of the cool moments. Like all the little things you can do with this to sort of make it shine. And then you have the big wah, 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 wah. That is the wobble itself. You can hear it has sort of this bellish timbre texture. There's a reason why this one creates a metal texture and this one creates more of a rumbly texture, like Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. It's like he's sitting underneath your table and he's got gas. And so occasionally his gas comes up and it sounds like this one. This one's like he's sticking a knife through your table. I don't know, something else though. Something metallic. Maybe not. Maybe just banging his trash can. I don't know. Oscar the Grouch with a knife be kind of scary. So what's the deal here? What is a Reese? First, let's address that question. What's a Reese? Oh, I'm glad you asked what a Reese is. A Reese is whenever you generate a tone and the main timbre is principally generated by the phenomena of beats. What is that? You mean like we're going to invite like Dr. Dre over or going to get down? It's like, no, this is a different type of beats. And it's also called a Reese. And it's not like the Reese's peanut butter cups. If you have those in the room, those will enhance your sound, but they are not the sound. So especially if I'm in the room with the Reese's peanut butter cups and you give them to me, then it's even better. What is a Reese? Well, you could skip ahead a little bit if you already know about this, but a Reese is whenever you have two similar waveforms at a similar pitch. And so here they are. Okay. That's what we got going on. And now we are going to turn one up on pitch just a little bit. Now that is beats. Beats, so you're hearing the difference because they're so close in pitch that we perceive a difference. Now if we come down, that's a Reese. So there's a point where they get so far apart in pitch that instead you hear another tone. And that gets into other types of modulation. So we're going to leave that alone for now. So that's the basis of this tone. That's what a Reese does. Just a little bit apart in pitch creates that sort of texture for us. Now you should also keep in mind that this becomes more and more complicated if you have a lot of overtones. So right now we've got like two sine waves, so it works out pretty nice. But if you have like a complex pad form trying to Reese another one, it's gonna instead it'll create more of a coloration than it will of a Reese. And they're typically lower sounds because you want to hear like the wobbles and you want to hear them changing. So, okay, now let's talk about the patch. So this is at 1.07. This is the one that's slightly off and it's coming out. And then E is at 1. And so they are reesing against each other. They're creating beats, rubbing up against each other. And when they do that, you get the sound. Now, D is just modulating each one independently. D is at a ratio of 6, so it's a high ratio, and it's a soft square wave. I just wanted to use something that wasn't a normal wave. And I felt, oh yeah, soft square wave, we're getting crazy now. Nah, we didn't even go into TX waveforms. So what's the deal with the modulation? Now you'll notice they very rarely go up too high except for at the very end, but they create cool textures. You'll notice that the D modulating F creates the metal type texture. So let's talk about that. Why does it do that? That's like so crazy. And the answer is pretty darn simple, actually. It's creating a metal texture because first off, it's at a ratio of 6. There's already an unusual ratio kind of, and you could like get technical with the waveform and stuff. But in reality, it is because this is at a ratio of 1.07. And when you FM something, you create a harmonic series. And you're generating an entire harmonic series when you increase the modulation index, i.e. just the volume. So 14 goes up. That's all I'm saying is this number increases. That's the modulation index. As you increase that, you get a bigger timbre spread, and we're generating an entire harmonic series not based on the fundamental, which would be at a ratio of 1 to whatever note we hit. If this is all going over your head, you need to watch my Learn FM8 from the ground up and Learn FM synthesis. That one will set you straight. So it's generating an entire timbre based not on that. And Sound and Synth Basics covers this too, I believe. So now you have a metal sound, a metal-y type sound. So now we know that if we touch this, we're going to get a metal-y type sound. That is a lot more than what a lot of sound designers can really say when they mess with crap like this. They're like, we just did this thing. So now you know. We're like, oh, I know how to like deliberately go and do this. And then this one creates just a big blah, like listen to it. And that's like, for me, I like the blah. I like the messy, sounds like you're punching 5 babies through a wall sound. That is like, yeah, because then you got your fast drum loop and you get on the highway and you go you slam that gas pedal down. Yeah. One time I was listening to drum and bass though and I ran a red and I was so glad there was no cop. But like, be careful when you're in the mood because holy crap, it gets crazy. So I like slowed down afterwards. I was like, 2 weeks, it's not worth it. Okay, so so that's 13. Now let's listen to the wobble. So we heard the metal sound. Here is the like wah. So here this is increasing. So you can hear it quite a lot more like. Now I am carving out a lot of stuff. Let me turn this stuff off. Here's what it sounds like by itself. So like you can barely hear it. That's the sound though. That includes the modulation within the patch. With the EQ, which is scooping stuff out. So there'd be even more stuff in the middle here, but that like takes up a ton of room in your mix. So you gotta be careful with a sound like this. Generally, if you're gonna use a sound like this, you're gonna avoid using a lot of things because it's gonna eat a lot of room up in your mix. However, I happen to like the really fast, really crazy, tons of stuff, and even throwing in things that aren't even in the same key as what you're working with you can sometimes get away with, and because that's just the style that you're working in. But I go through a parametric EQ that just scoops it out and boosts the highs, this changes the way it hits the wave shaper. So you may consider putting in an EQ after to shape the sound. But anyways, the wave shaper looks like this. I have several videos where I approach the wave shaper, but I have one specifically where I'm talking about it and what it does in the FL12 effects series if you're curious. So yes, so with those adjustments, it gets way louder and way more aggressive. So that's that. Now if you don't have that, if you're in Ableton or whatever, you just find a cool distortion, a wave shaper plugin. There's one, and my free VSTs there. I cover one that's also a bit reduction plugin, a bit depth reduction plugin. A bit crusher, but I can't remember what it's called. By X for Records though. So okay, so you go look that up if you want. So you can have a cool wave shaper too. It does similar things. Okay, so we've talked about these. What are the products of these? And I want to point out also that because that one, this lower one controls the lower side, like the raw, it's not going to get metallic. That's why when you do this, you get more of a slap in the face than you do like a metal stabbing your eye. So there's a visual for you. The top one, when it does it, it's like someone broke off a beer bottle and tried to stab you in the eye with it. This one, someone just straight up has a piece of wood and they're straight crushing you with it. It's not going through. It's a big piece of wood, like huge. It's like Goliath or something. He steps on you. Like, bow. Yeah, you know that? Like that's how an ant feels when you step on it. So, okay. Let's talk about so that's that. Pretty simple. Sine wave. One's at 1, one's at 1.7, and the other one's at 6. And it's the one being modulated, those two, and you can change them around to get like the texture you would like. The EQ, so you've seen the post a little bit, so you can see this EQ plays a large role because it's a pre-EQ. So it hits it before it hits distortion. That's going to play a big role in the timbre of the overall sounds. If we wanted to get crazy, we could automate these types of things and get a lot of textures out of it. I'm not getting crazy right now because that's just like unnecessary. I had a cool sound. Now I have a flanger. Flangers, go watch my video in FL12 effects on a flanger, and I have one in like most series. I cover the one in here. I mean, flangers are everywhere. It's a delay effect, and it's at a rate of 6 with these particular settings. So the most important setting probably in here is the rate and the rotate. The rotate is responsible for creating the stereo image that I have. So for example, as you see, it's not on. I have to have the rotate on, or I don't even know what I'm talking about. So okay, here's it without the rotate. So, and then here it is with the rotate on just a touch. It creates a bigger stereo field. It's a small touch, but it is one that does make quite a big difference. Then there's reverb. I just turned the reverb on. It hits the distortion, and that also aids it. It acts as like sort of a crazy delay as well, because the reverb mixes with it when you go through the second EQ, the one in post, this one, and this one, not that one, this one, and then you hit the wave shaper. So you're wave shaping the reverb, which is like a pretty aggressive thing. If I wanted a really clean sound, I could just get rid of this. I just turned it on. And then you could do the reverb in post, but I kind of liked the reverb as it was. But hey, you know what? This probably sounds cleaner. That kind of got me. I should probably reduce it. I'd probably put an EQ on that. Unless I was going to record that individually and use it as like a sample. That's a cool moment right there though. So if you have any questions about this sound, let me know. I will answer your questions as best I can. There's a double scoop. Watch if we change this. So you could create an automation clip and just move this guy around and achieve a bunch of textures. This is the wave shaper. It's like, yeah. Oh, one thing that I did do on this one that I haven't done, I don't think ever before, is to turn the pre up. So I've deliberately moved it away from here as much and made this curve right here play a bigger role in what I'm doing. So that's something that I normally don't do. I turn the pre mix up. So if you have any questions, again, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day. Progression, like everyone seems to know about this one and use it. I will play you an example and we're going to talk about something. So here it is. What? It just ends like that? Yep, it does. What does this mean? Well, first off, this makes it exceptional at looping. Like just